What's up, Seattle? I'm Steve McCarron. We're back for episode 6 of Sound On. This is the show that talks about what you're talking about online. We got a packed show for you today. We're talking about your solutions to the rising gun violence that is plaguing so many cities across our region, the AI takeover, the new area code coming to Seattle, and boredom-busting ideas as kids start summer break. It's time to sound off on Sound On.
Again for joining us for episode 6 of Sound On. I'm Tyrah. We want to start this week off with a very touchy subject, something that's impacted pretty much all of us, especially over the past few weeks here in Seattle and across Western Washington. That's gun violence and violent crimes. Many of you spoke about your solutions, what you wanted to see change and happen differently in the city when it comes to that issue.
This is a topic we talked about last week, and we got a lot of responses on our YouTube page, on our website as well, social media pages, about solutions. You'll remember last week was a really difficult week. We had the funeral for Ina Kwan. That was the pregnant business owner who was shot and killed in Seattle's Belltown neighborhood earlier this month. And we asked, what are the solutions to this rising gun violence here in Seattle and across the region? We got a number of comments on our YouTube page. One person saying, definitely the city council is responsible. The politicians who allow open drug use, no consequences are mainly responsible. I mean, OMG. Another person saying, if criminals know they'll face consequences, crime will stop. It is simple. Yeah, and you'll remember that Seattle Police Chief Adrian Diaz had formed this new task force to address violent crime in the city, focusing on 4 areas: the Aurora Corridor, Central District, downtown Seattle, the city's south end. And he says they're actually already seeing some results from that already, so moving quickly on that. And we did a one-on-one interview, our Michelle Esteban did, with Chief Diaz about this gun violence that we continue to see across the city, and this is some of what he had to say.
Are we at a tipping point?
I think, honestly, just hearing from the community, I was actually at a vigil on Saturday, and I believe that we are at a tipping point. I believe people are wanting to make sure that they feel safe.
So that is some of what he had to say. We got a lot of comments on our website about this issue too. One person was saying, I blame the criminal court and the city council for this and every crime that happens here. Another person saying that the mayor and the police chief and every city council member should be required to attend every funeral of the deceased in Seattle until they actually take it seriously and start solving this self-made crisis. That person goes on to say actions speak louder than words.
Wow, that's pretty powerful,
Yeah.
attending every funeral of the deceased. Wow.
Yeah, and you think about particularly all of the homicides that have happened just this year alone.
So many.
That would be a lot of memorial services that would need to be attended just because so many lives have been lost in Seattle and obviously across the region too.
For sure. And I want to say thank you to all who did sound off on this issue and left comments. Your input is more than valuable, so keep on commenting. If you have any more solutions you want to share on this issue, feel free to leave it in the comments below.
You think about the response that it takes whenever an emergency happens, right?
Yeah.
And then you incorporate something called artificial intelligence, which is like taking over everything. Information generated by computers. They do resumes, cover letters, songs, anything that you can think of.
Yeah.
And now emergency responses too, apparently.
Very interesting. For those who don't know, artificial intelligence is information generated by computers. I like to compare it to Google times 10. These automated responses in a jiffy. Like, you don't have to do any work. You can look up whatever you want. You can ask for anything you want, and they'll automate a response for you.
It is amazing how quick it is and how complex the responses are too.
And we're going to get to that. It's wild. We actually did a test run here at KOMO News, and we're going to get to that. But I do want to mention something that you just brought up. 911 dispatchers. Imagine if real people on the other end kind of go away, and now AI robots are now answering your emergency calls.
Particularly if it's not a critical emergency, right? That's what we're kind of talking about.
Yes, so this is actually happening in Multnomah County, Oregon, parts of Portland. They're already implementing this. They have launched an automated response for non-emergency calls. So depending on your issue, the AI rep on the other end of the line will basically say, okay, can we handle this issue for you, or do we need to actually direct you to a real person that's on the other line?
Fascinating.
How would you feel about that if you had an emergency and you weren't talking to a real person?
If it's not critical, which I think is what this really highlights, I think that's okay, right? And it helps the dispatchers who do need to respond to those real emergencies kind of focus on that task. And when it's something that's not critical, when life isn't at danger, then this AI technology can sort of handle those calls and make sure that that person gets the help that they need.
AI is
Yeah.
taking over.
Taking over everything.
Over. So this article actually got a lot of hits on our website, and we did get some comments. We pulled some of those up. Elvin says, using AI to screen non-emergency calls makes a lot of sense. I bet most of the time the calls are to make a report of something that is of concern, but not life-threatening. So that's kind of what you said.
Yeah.
And then we have this other person way on the bottom, patio chef. They say, patio chef, right? I'm not so hip on the headlong embrace of this program designed to think like a human. The embrace is premature. This sort of thing is going to make people stupid because they won't have to do the work. And I can kind of see that argument as well. So I mentioned at the beginning of this series when we first started it that I teach at Seattle University. First thing I asked my students was, who uses AI? They all raised their hand.
All of them.
I said, for what? They said resumes, cover letters. Imagine if we had AI in college, Steve.
That would be a total game changer, right? All those hours spent on trying to put those essays together, some like 20 pages long, and this AI just spits it out.
But I do think Patio Chef has a point there. I was worried about my students. I'm like, well, that's kind of lazy, but maybe, you know, they just use it as a template, kind of a starting point, which is what a lot of companies are doing here in Seattle.
Do you think as a professor, could you tell when an essay or cover letter was generated using AI?
Absolutely. The responses are just a little too perfect. You can kind of tell they are not, you know, when they say talk in your own words, say it in your own way. AI says it in its own way. It's very proper and very formulated and professional. And so I think when you're looking at cover letters, personal essays, you're looking for personality in candidates or students. And I think that's what AI misses a little bit.
And somebody's own life experience kind of mixed into that too.
For sure.
Which is really important,
For
right?
sure.
And so you talk about cover letters, resumes, and now apparently doing some other really important office work. There's this Seattle company, right? That is doing this type of work where they're creating slide decks to sort of help people out with presentations.
Yeah, it's really interesting. This is a startup, and they basically have these AI-generated slide decks, but they are saying that it should serve as a starting point, not a finished presentation. So yeah, a template, filling in the blanks. But I remember in school having to do those PowerPoint presentations, and I did not like to make those.
I did not either. I just didn't get the technology. Putting them together took so much work.
It takes a lot of work.
Yeah.
But with all this being said, Steve, I do think AI is the future. I've used it, not gonna lie, I've gone on Chat
What have you used it for?
GPT. I use Chat GPT, and I have
Chat GPT?
I've used it for a couple of different reasons.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, it helped me do a little research one day.
Oh.
I've also used it to formulate some wedding hashtags. So my brother's getting
that's
married
fun.
soon, and so you know how couples do like a wedding hashtag?
Yeah.
I basically asked AI to help me come up with some hashtags. I gave them the bride and groom's last names, a little bit about their personalities, and AI came up with a couple good solutions. Usable.
I had actually not used it until last week, and Tyrah actually introduced me to Chat GPT.
Yeah, and we actually asked them, what should we talk about
We did.
for Sound On?
And what was interesting, it was very vague, we found, so there weren't like specific topics that were kind of focused on kind of what we do here, and wasn't really something that we sort of felt like we could use.
Right.
So this was not AI generated episode.
No, this is not an AI. This is a you generated.
This is a you generated episode. Yeah.
But you know, the more context you provide AI, the more they give back in their answers. So, interesting.
It is definitely the future, though.
It is the future.
And I think it's going to like keep taking over more and more and more jobs. And
For sure.
It's going to be introduced even more.
Yeah. So we want to know what you think. AI is the future. We actually created a poll. It's on our website, KOMOnews.com. Option A, will you use it? Option B, have you already used it? Or option C, never will I ever use it. I'm staying far away from AI. We want to know what you think in the comments below even too.
I think we'll be surprised at how many people have actually used it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's here to stay. Definitely here to stay. KOMOnews.com if you want to participate in that. All right, you know what else is coming? A big change.
What?
A new area code coming to the Seattle area.
This is a really hot topic.
Divisive, yes. I am a long-time 206. Ever since I got my first cell phone years ago, I've been a 206. If I move, I am keeping that 206. I am not changing. All right, so here's what's happening. 206 area code numbers are projected to run out by the end of 2025, so in about 2-ish years from now, right? So there's the state commission recently approved a plan to implement 564.
Has a little ring to
this-
it.
We'll see. Now, if you're thinking back and thinking, wait, hasn't this already happened? This is actually kind of a long time coming. So back in 2000, this commission originally approved this new area code for parts of the region, but then they postponed it about 17 or 18 years because there was this kind of like conservation effort that happened.
Okay.
And then about 6 years ago, they said, yeah, we're going to start implementing this 564, and now it's apparently coming to the Seattle area within about 2 years. So, as you can imagine, a lot of people sounding off on this.
People aren't happy.
Yes. So Lisa Marquardt is saying, wasn't this a plot line on Seinfeld? Like a Seinfeld episode? It might have been, actually.
Probably.
I don't watch that show too much, sadly, but yes. Larry is saying, so one of my cell phones already has a 564 area code and have for a year or so. So he probably lives in that 360 area that was part of this big change a number of years ago. And I loved what a couple of other people said. Kayla said, 206 till I die. Kayla, I'm with you. And August is saying, I will never surrender my 206.
So you're never giving it up.
I am never giving up that 206, even though I get a lot of spam texts and calls on that number. It is the original. I'm sticking with it.
It's a good area code.
It
It does
is.
have a ring to it. And I think another interesting thing that a lot of people are saying under the comments on this area code change is that Seattle and Western Washington is just getting too full.
Yeah.
They're like, move back to wherever you came from,
Yeah.
Midwest or wherever.
There's
And
too many people that are moving here.
yeah, so maybe that's, the problem. We're running out of area codes. But hey, 206 till I die. That's what
206 till I die.
Okay.
You are not a 206,
No, I
but you have a work 206.
I do have a work phone, cell phone. I've got a work cell phone number, and the area code is 206.
See, my work and my personal are both 206.
All right.
So 206 till I die.
564.
It just doesn't roll off the
It
tongue.
doesn't roll off the tongue, no. All right,
Oh,
Steve.
wow. Yes.
It's summer.
I love it.
Summer is my favorite season, and it's
Same.
beautiful
Yes.
here. The summers here are beautiful. What have you been doing? what
Well,
do you have planned?
Let's see. I went on a hike at Discovery Park this
Okay.
past weekend, which was great. Lots of people out enjoying it. Parking lot was full. I went on a sunset cruise around Elliott Bay last
Wow.
Friday,
Okay.
which was fabulous. Beautiful weather, light breeze in your hair, sweatshirt on.
The hair flowing through the
Just-
wind. Wait, we have to play the Sound of Music clip of you at Discovery Park.
Yes.
The
Oh,
hairs
yes.
are alive.
Show that clip,
Look at
yeah.
this video.
It just felt like it was needed in that
You've
moment.
been enjoying your summer,
I have,
and I
yes.
am looking forward to activities. You
Yes.
mentioned the weather being beautiful and the
Yes.
breeze in your hair and
Yeah.
the wind. What do you think is the perfect sweet spot for people who are maybe born and raised here in Western Washington?
See, I would say if you're native, if you're from here originally, I would say probably around the sweet spot is like low 70s, low to mid 70s. For me, I would pick like 75, 76.
Okay.
Yeah. What
Okay.
about you?
Low 70s to me is cold. Just being from
Oh.
SoCal, anything under 70, I'm like, let me grab a jacket. But
Are you like 90?
I like 80s, 83, 84.
Okay,
Between 78 and 90.
Okay.
Yeah, that
I
works
mean,
for
that's
me.
a little too hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And start sweating and it's not cool.
Well, there are tons of
thank you
things
to
to
that.
do.
Yeah. We know that a lot of kids are starting their summer break, right?
Yes, we know Seattle Public School District out of school this Friday. Other school districts, they were out last week and
Yeah.
they just keep going and going. So there are some fun activities to do for kids as well, even around the house.
Yeah. And well, you think about like some kids will be going to camp.
Yeah.
Parents are like trying to figure out, okay, what should I do with little Timmy and Sally to keep them busy? And what I thought was really cool is our partners at Seattle Refined, they came up with this list to sort of keep kids busy, right? 9 boredom-busting ideas for kids this coming summer. And we thought some of these items were cool. So you have parachute guys that you can throw around in the yard and they just like float down to the ground, which is kind of
Okay.
fun to do. I've been seeing a lot of people using reusable water balls instead of like regular balloons because they burst, right?
Yeah.
And then we have a prop for number 3.
Ooh.
You know we love our props
We
on this
love
show.
props. And
Yes.
Steve always has the props. What is he gonna pull out right now? Okay.
So have you heard of chore sticks?
No, educate me, enlighten me.
Do you want to know what chore sticks are?
Sure.
$18.99 on Amazon. Chore sticks, my friends.
And why would someone use these?
They would use these to make doing chores with the kids fun
Okay.
around the house, right?
Right.
And there's also a few surprise fun chores in here. So Pick out a stick and see what it says.
So if little Timmy or Sally is saying,
Little Timmy or Sally.
Dad, I'm bored.
I'm bored. Well, Timmy, Sally, you're bored. You can do, what's it say?
Load or unload the dishwasher.
Yay! Okay, pick another one. Let's do 2 more.
Okay. I'm bored. Take dirty laundry to the laundry room.
Yay! What else?
Oh my gosh, let me close my eyes. These are crazy. Dust the living room furniture.
Who doesn't love to dust the living room furniture?
Oh, wow. Hey, way to keep your kids busy, right?
You know what? We were looking at some of the reviews on this article on Seattle Refined and then also on Amazon. And there's actually a lot of parents were saying this really worked for the kids to help make things fun.
Wow.
But there's also some fun ones too. Dance to one song, pick the chore that you want.
Pick up 10 toys. I'm looking for
15
the fun
jumping
ones.
jacks. You gotta look hard for them.
Jacks. 10 minutes of free time.
There you go. See, a good one. Yeah.
But only 10 minutes.
My favorite, and we're not going to pick through all these, is
I was like, let's pick all of them.
go hug mom and dad.
Oh, that's a good
that
one.
sweet?
And it doesn't really feel like a chore. It's like a fun thing to do.
Maybe for some kids it feels like a chore, but
I could see how that would create a little element of surprise for kids at home this summer.
$18.99, Amazon.
Okay,
chore
then.
sticks. Happy cyber.
Thanks for the little hacks.
I don't know what we're going to do with these now.
Give them to
You can have 'em.
colleagues with kids.
Who's the lucky person going to get those? All right, what else we got going on? Busy
We've got some
weekend?
great events for you this weekend lined up. Fun for the whole family as well. This first one goes all the way up to Volunteer Park in Seattle.
So close.
Northwest Flow Fest is happening. This is a performing arts festival in its 6th year, so it's pretty popular. They have circus, dance, yoga, hula hoop competition, all-day workshops. This is going to be taking place Saturday, July 1st. Once again, that's at Volunteer Park in
And have you
Seattle.
ever seen fire spinning before?
Like the
The thing with like fire
Yes.
going on?
Do they do that?
So Friday night, they're actually going to be doing a practice of fire spinning inside of this fire circle. And that's going to be at Gasworks Park. That's free from 8 until 11 p.m.
That
so kind of
sounds
some really cool
fun.
things to check out, right?
That sounds like fun.
And then you can go to Edmonds. Do you like plays?
I love the arts.
How about a short play or a number of short
Sure,
plays?
because sometimes they get too long.
Sometimes they get a little long and
Okay.
you just want a little short one. So there's the 12th Annual Festival of Shorts. It's happening in Edmonds. So this is Thursday, runs from
Okay.
Thursday until Sunday, so it's several days you can pick. Each performance, 8 short plays, several directors, several casts, and then the audience votes on their favorites from among the finalists. And what I love about this one is the theme. It's called Pay It Forward, and it focuses on acts of kindness that we love on this show
sweet.
and how those acts can make a difference.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, that one sounds fun, and we do love acts of kindness.
We
So
do.
why not, pay it forward and
right.
get some good theater as well.
And you know what? The weather's going to be nice this weekend too, so
weather's
even better.
Great. I want to get out to the beach. I think that's
Can't
what I'll
wait.
do.
Can't wait.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Sounds On. Number 6.
Number
We're
6.
almost at 10. Steve.
Close. Almost there.
We're almost there.
Almost there.
We're almost there.
We'll see you soon.
There's the music.